Hey guys, it's Pelican Dude, and today I thought I would make a brief overview of the orbital layer in Planetary Annihilation's Gamma phase, which is brand new. So this is for anyone who's maybe not the most familiar with the orbital layer or is new to the game. I know we have a lot of new players now that the game is on sale for so cheap, so if you're experienced you probably don't need to see this, but this is mainly for inexperienced players. So here's what's going on right now in the orbital layer. So right now in the orbital layer we have, first of all, we'll cover the Astraeus. So the Astraeus is the orbital transport, and really it's the only way of getting between planets right now. And the reason why I say it's the only way of getting between planets, even though we have the teleportation gate, is because in order for you to make a teleportation gate, you need to get some kind of construction unit there in the first place. That's either going to be the orbital construction unit or a unit you use the Astraeus to move. So really the Astraeus is the only viable option of landing on a planet to begin with. So the Astraeus is useful, it's just a little bit slow, which is a bit of a problem, but in general it's just a decent unit to get between planets. It has light armor, so keep that in mind. I've assassinated a couple of commanders while they were in their Astraeuses, so make sure you have that not happen to you. But all around, it's a good unit, and I just wish there was a multi-unit transport to go in between the orbital layers. I think that is something that we need. So next up, we have the orbital fabrication unit, which I'm not sure what needs to be said about it. It's a little glitchy, it still has temp art, but it works well, it does its job, and I'm not sure what else there is to say about it. Then also with the energy satellites, also not much needs to be said about it other than they're a good energy source and they're mobile, which makes them very useful. And just in general, you're going to get a lot of energy from them compared to your basic energy facility, and by the time you're making them, they're not really that much of a resource drain. So I would definitely recommend those. And then next up we've got orbital fighters, which are the Avengers, which are a bit of a nod to the Total Annihilation Core Tech 1 fighter, which was also named the Avenger. And the Avenger is a good little unit, and it's fast, and that's the only real advantage it has right now. See, the Avenger is very useful for taking down other unarmed orbital units, but the problem with the Avenger is it will get destroyed pretty much every time by the other orbital combat unit, which is the Anchor. So the Avenger is good for intercepting Astraeuses, shooting down orbital satellites, stuff like that, because it's fast enough, or it's pretty fast in comparison to the Anchor, which those Avengers right there aren't moving very fast because they're in a group with slower moving orbital units. But the Avenger is lightly armored, so like I said, the Anchor will just absolutely tear them up even if they're in a group. So you'll need a lot of Avengers to take down an Anchor, so just keep that in mind when you're using them. The other thing about Avengers is if you're in an Avenger versus Avenger fight, you can actually, if you tell your Avengers to attack the enemy Avengers from the back, they will have a significant advantage because the other Avengers have to turn around to fight you, and that takes a bit of time, and so you can get off quite a few shots before the other Avengers can maneuver around to shoot you. And now we're on to the Anchor. So the Anchor is basically like the orbital battleship, and it is pretty beast. It's only balanced by the fact that it's slow. If it was as fast as the Avenger, then it would be completely unbalanced, because you can see it here. It's just absolutely, this little group of Anchors is just completely destroying these Avengers. I mean, they're very cool orbital units. Like I said, they're like orbital battleships, but they are maybe a little overpowered right now. I don't know if they're overpowered or if the Avenger is underpowered. Like I said, the orbital layer just still needs some refinement, but definitely a cool unit, and you're about to see a couple of Anchors versus my fleet of Anchors there. And as you can see, the Anchors are just destroying those Avengers, and then they destroy those construction orbitals, and now they're in this little bit of a kind of battleship-like engagement. I kind of hope they give the Anchor a different weapon, maybe, spice things up a little bit. But yeah, the Anchor is probably your number one defense/offense in certain situation unit. And the other thing is, Anchors are pretty easily spammed. Actually, the orbital fighter is too. to be honest, once you get a decent economy up, you can spam just about anything in this game, so you can decide whether or not that's good for yourself. So as for the orbital laser platform, the orbital laser platform needs help. I don't know, it's just not very useful right now. It does a lot of damage, but it's slow firing. It's not a legitimate way of attacking ground targets from orbit. So just keep that in mind when you're playing the game, that the orbital laser platform is just not really the best bet for killing ground targets. But it's the only thing we have right now. So I kind of hope that we start seeing a more advanced way of attacking land units from the orbital layer in the future soon. As for the orbital satellites, I'd recommend them. They're basically just like advanced recon units that fly around and you can send them in between planets. There's not much to be said about that. Just good. But yeah, if you enjoyed the commentary, guys, I hope you liked this whole gameplay in the background here. The story behind this, it was supposed to be a 2v2, v2, v2, and my teammate didn't spawn in, so it was a 1v2, v2, v2, but I ended up winning in the background anyway, and cool little orbital nuking there. I wish there would have been some planets to smash, but whatever. So that's how it ends, and I hope you enjoyed the thoughts on the orbital layer of Planetary Annihilation as of the Gamma update. And with that, I hope you guys all have a nice day. Thank you.